Hello and welcome to another video. So in this video we are uh, going to solve another one of the array questions that are from easy level meet uh, from LeetCode. Uh, so let's start with the question. So the question is about contains duplicate. So given an integer array that's nums, we need to return true if any value appears at least twice in the array and return false if the element is distinct. Okay, so if we go through the array, if any element is repeated more than once, then we need to return true, else we need to return false. Okay, so we could go through these examples and see that one is repeated multiple times, so we return true. One is also repeated here multiple times, true. None of the number is repeated, so false. Okay, let's go to our notepad and see what's this about. Okay, so here in the question we have been given that it's an integer num, return true if, so we have got very clear understanding that if any number is there one more than one time, then we need to return it as false, as true. And if it's not repeated, then we need to return false. Okay, so the first solution that comes to our mind is we could like go through the array multiple times using brute force method using two for loops, but that would be having a time complexity of O of n square. So that's a bit too much to execute on LeetCode for this question. So we won't be applying that method. Here we have another method, that is if we could sort this array, it would take O of n log n to sort the array. And what would happen after we have sorted the array? So each element that is repeated, uh, the element would be next to it. If that number or element is repeated, the same number would be there next to it. Okay, so what we could do here, we could let's say take an example, 1 2 3 1 4. Okay, so if we sort this, we would get 1 2 3 4 and 1 is twice. Okay, now if we check I and I plus 1, if those values are like same, then we would return true, else at the end of the for loop we would return false. So this would um, like we are going for the for loop, so it would take O of n. So the total time complexity would be O of n plus n log n. So that would be equal to O of n log n. Okay, now it is taking O of n log n, but the space complexity, we have not used any extra space, so O of 1. So if we use extra space, um, then we could compute this whole thing in O of n. So how? We could use hash map. So using hash map, what would we do? We would iterate through the whole loop. So and if we encounter any new element that is not present in the hash map, then we would just append that value to the hash map or the hash table. And then uh, if we have encountered any uh, number before, that means there is some element in the um, in the array that has been there already in the hash map. So that element would be um, like fetched in O of 1 using hash map, and we could return true. So for this very same example, what will happen? We would be having a table 1. Uh, we would iterate from I1 to n, and we will have I, and we would be having the key value pair. So key would be the number itself, that is a of I, and here we would put the iteration, like if it's present then it's 1, else the number won't be there. Okay, so we would iterate through it, the whole array. So 2 was not there, we would add it, and 3 was not there, then again 1 comes. So what will happen, we could fetch, uh, we will check if this uh, element um, was there already in the hash map or not. If it's there, then we could directly return true, and if not, uh, if the whole array has been like iterated through and we have not encountered any element, then we would return false. So let's go to the code and see. So this is the, okay, one more thing I forgot. Uh, so here the hash table uses O of 1 to get any element from the hash table, and we would be using for loop, so that would be O of n. So if we combine this, we would be having O of n as time complexity. But um, we have used hash map that would be taking n elements, so the space complexity would be O of n. Okay, so uh, so that's the cost that we need to pay for getting the time complexity as O of n. Okay, let's go to our code. So here I've coded it. We have given, let taken element with the minimum value, and we have sorted the array. So now if a is equals to num of I, then we would return that. So instead of taking this, what we could do, we could have taken the first element and iterated from the first, like the second element in the array to the nth element. That is more safer way rather than doing this. Okay. Then if like the elements are sorted now, so what we will do, we will check uh, if uh, if the two consecutive numbers are same, then we would return true, else we would otherwise we would be updating the num I to the given temporary value, that is a, that would be checked for the next iteration. Okay, so this is the solution using two pointers, that is next to each other. So we are not actually using the pointers, but just for the sake of understanding here. Okay, so if any two elements are present, that are like so any element that is repeated, so that element would be next to each other. So we would be able to fetch that directly from here. Okay, this condition. So thanks for watching. See you guys again in the next video. Bye.